How's it going, guys? It's K Cars, and today of course we are back with another Jeep video, as you guys can see. So as you guys know, we recently did replace the front bumper end caps on my Jeep Cherokee XJ here. If you guys haven't seen that video, make sure to go check it out a few weeks ago. So along with the front bumper end caps, I know I've been talking about doing a few other cosmetic things and like body work to this Jeep. To be honest, I think I've been talking about doing all that stuff for like almost a year now. So today we are finally going to be taking action on all those things that I mentioned. We're actually going to be checking out a brand new shop here in the Northern Virginia area. It's called Rob's Customs and Restorations in Manassas, Virginia. So they specialize in obviously restoration, so I figured it would be a perfect shop to take the Jeep to. Hopefully they'll be taking some good care of it, and I will go over this more in detail later on in this video, but just to keep it short here, we're going to be replacing the rear bumper and also getting it painted to match the body, which as you guys can see here is a nice Patriot blue. Probably can't really see it too well right now because it's like in direct sunlight. But anyways, we're going to be doing that. We're also going to be replacing the rear bumper brackets. And the reason for that is because the rear bumper, as you guys have probably seen in previous videos, it is pretty rusty. And of course, I will show you guys later on. But we're also going to be replacing the rear bumper end caps just to go ahead and match the front. We're going to have some fresh bumper end caps that actually have some good color to them and they're not faded. You guys have mentioned this in some of my previous videos, but as you guys know, these old XJs are known for having this sagging headliner. So I'm gonna see if they can fix this up. I'm not really sure how to actually like fix or replace a headliner. I've never actually looked into it, to be honest, but it definitely is something that has been on my list, and you guys have definitely been commenting about that as well in my videos. I really don't think this Jeep will ever be like completely done. It's like I said in my previous videos, these Jeeps are always going to be a working project. You're never actually going to be finished with a Jeep project like this. So always going to be something to do with this Jeep. There definitely are a few rust spots on the roof that, you know, it's not urgent. Like, it's not like the roof is going to fall apart if I don't fix those rust patches immediately. So I might be saving that for a later date. There's also a good amount of rock chips on the front of the Jeep, on the hood as well. There's also a few tiny patches of rust on the bottom of the doors. So I'm thinking maybe we just take care of the things that I mentioned first, and then maybe at a later date we can go ahead and patch up some of those rust spots on the roof and the doors as well. So we'll see how it goes today, and let's get on the road and I will update you guys as we go. So we got about a half-hour drive up to the shop, and I will admit I'm not a huge fan of driving this Jeep on like the interstate or highways or anything like above 40 miles an hour, to be honest. A lot of people will disagree with that and say that it's a great highway cruiser, but you know, we're going about 55 right now. See that right now, and to be honest, with 31-inch tires and a 3-inch lift, it really isn't too bad, to be honest. You can kind of hear the hum of those mud tires that we have right now, but as you can see, the steering wheel is staying pretty straight. You do have to have some constant input just to make sure you stay in the lane, but that's also to be expected with an off-road vehicle like this. Like, you can't really expect to have performance car results with a Jeep like this. So overall, I really don't have any complaints with driving this Jeep at, you know, high speeds, at least something that I would consider a high speed for a Jeep like this, which is around 55. To be honest, guys, I don't really drive this Jeep like super long distances. This is going to be one of the longest drives that I've ever taken this Jeep on. Surprisingly, it's only like, to be honest, 15 miles, half an hour. But previously, one of the, you know, long drives that I've taken this Jeep on was actually whenever we went up to Cooper's Rock State Forest during that snowstorm, whenever we took this Jeep in a bunch of snow. So that was definitely a whole bunch of fun. It did very well, obviously, except for the fact that it kind of had trouble downshifting whenever we started going up an incline on the highway. So we were cruising on the highway at like 40 to 50 miles an hour just because it wouldn't downshift for some reason. Now, a lot of people have recommended that I just need to adjust the kickdown cable, which, to be honest, I still haven't even looked into, but I really do need to. So that's something that people have recommended to fix that issue of not wanting to downshift. But yeah, so I haven't really had any issues so far. Like I said, great driver on and off-road. You know, obviously it's made to go off-road, but if you do need to use this Jeep as a daily driver, it's definitely, you know, it's enough. It's not a sports car or anything, so it will be a little bit more difficult if you have to accelerate very quickly or brake very quickly or make a quick maneuver in traffic. Of course, you're not going to be able to make those kind of maneuvers as well as you would be able to in a performance car. So But you know, it definitely is possible to drive a Jeep like this as a daily driver, so I really can't complain about it. So right now we're about to get on like an actual highway here. I'll show you guys how it handles these turns. Right now we're going a little bit under 40, so you know, obviously in the Challenger I'd be going much quicker right here to actually be at the speed to merge correctly into traffic. Right now, you know, we're going 50 miles an hour, slowly accelerating to the speed limit, as you guys can see right there. So yeah, I mean, this isn't really an issue of it not wanting to downshift, because you know, if I floored it, then it might downshift, but who knows. But usually if you're going up an incline, it kind of has trouble downshifting if you're trying to do that. But as you guys look right now, the steering wheel is, you know, staying straight. It's not like shaking or anything. I do have to constantly put like steering input to make sure it stays straight and in the lane. But right now we're going about 65 miles an hour, you know, not having any issues whatsoever. I will say with this upgraded suspension, it does kind of feel a little bit more bouncy, which of course is expected and not a complaint at all, just an observation that I'm making. You know, if you have an upgraded suspension, then that is something you should expect, but you know, it's not really a downside at all. So it's just something to expect with an off-road suspension like that. And also going back to the tire hum, if you have mud tires, then you probably know what I'm talking about, but not sure how well this is going to come out on camera. But the mud tires do give sort of like a humming sound when you're driving, I want to say maybe above 20 miles an hour. So right now we're doing a little over 60, and it definitely is, you know, you can definitely hear the humming of those mud tires, which to be honest, I actually kind of like. Like, it's not a complaint, it's not a negative thing, in my opinion. I actually kind of like how it sounds, to be honest. So as you guys can see, we just hit a little bit of a bump there, so you know, it soaks up all the bumps very well. It is a little bit bouncy, but you know, it definitely soaks them up better than the Challenger would, that's for sure. So we got about 18 minutes left. We got a cop sitting right there, obviously not getting us in this slow Jeep. We're going like below 60 right now, so let's keep going and I'll keep giving you guys updates. Another thing that I wanted to mention is death wobbles. I think that's a more common problem with the Wranglers. I don't think it really happens too much with the Cherokees. At least, you know, I haven't seen it happen to mine at all, luckily. So it really isn't a problem for me. I think as long as you get like a solid suspension, you should be okay. You know, I haven't had death wobble at all in this Jeep, so it really hasn't been an issue for me, so I haven't run into that at all. But I will say, you guys know, like, Jeeps are kind of shaped like bricks. You are really affected by the wind, so if you have a strong gust of wind, you just have to make sure that you're prepared to fight it with the steering wheel. You just have to be, you know, ready at any time. If you're going on like a bridge over a river, then usually you're going to run into a gust of wind on something like that. So really not a big deal. You just have to expect it and, you know, be ready to steer into it and make sure you're not driving off the road. So for example, like right now, if I show you guys the steering wheel, if I let go, you know, it's staying completely straight right now. I am not even touching it, and it's completely straight. Now it's going a little bit to the left, so you just have to correct it just barely. So that is pretty impressive. You know, in my opinion, I think it's pretty impressive that a Jeep with upgraded suspension, you know, stock steering components, except for the upgraded steering stabilizer, that's the only thing that I have. Still has a stock tie rod and drag link, but you know, it really does handle pretty well, to be honest. Going a little bit over 60 right now, so really can't complain at all. I think it's pretty cool that with a Jeep like this, you know, upgraded 31-inch mud tires, upgraded suspension, like I said, you can just let go of the steering wheel and it'll stay straight for the most part. Obviously, you do have to give it some input to keep it straight so you don't run into the other lane, but yeah, I mean, it's really not too bad. I know I said I'm not a huge fan of driving this Jeep high speeds, and when I say high speeds, I just mean like over 40 or over 50, something like that. But yeah, it's really not too bad. There definitely are better vehicles that you can drive at higher speeds and on the highway. Like, in my opinion, I'm used to driving the Challenger on the highway, or if I need to drive high speeds or long distances. So that's usually what I compare this Jeep to, which obviously is not a fair comparison at all. But, you know, it's really not too bad for what it is. Also, did want to mention, ever since we got all those cooling parts replaced on this Jeep, it hasn't overheated one time. Like, the day that I drove it back from the shop after getting all those parts replaced, it was like 100 degrees out, and it was running right under 210, which is perfect. So absolutely haven't had any issues. We've been driving for, I want to say, like 20 minutes right now, and I can show you guys the gauge right here. can see right under 210. We've been driving around 50 to 60 miles an hour. So yeah, I mean, zero issues at all when it comes to overheating. So we also did get the electric fan replaced a while ago. So obviously that helps as well if it goes above 210, which, you know, barely ever happens. So, I mean, really can't complain about anything with this Jeep. So it's been extremely reliable for me. All right, guys, so we made it here to the shop all in one piece, luckily. And if you look right there, I think we are definitely in the right place here. So let's go ahead and go inside. I'm gonna leave you guys in here and give you guys an update whenever we, you know, find out what's going on. So I just got back from the shop here, and let me tell you guys what we actually went over here. So as I told you guys in the beginning of this video, we wanted to get the rear bumper replaced. As you can see, it does have a good bit of rust right here, pretty much all over the underside of the bumper. Right there is the worst part right there. And then in addition to that, I also did want to get the actual brackets replaced, which are these right over here. If you guys can see that, you can see it's, you know, there's a bunch of rust just falling out right there. So definitely want to get that replaced as well. And he also did mention that they do want to fix up the rear portion of the frame right here. You guys can see it is pretty rusty, so they're going to get all that scaled off, and he said they would line it with like bed liner, I think. So previously this thing was undercoated with fluid film, and as you can see, it still has a good bit of rust on it. So he said they would go ahead and repair the rear section of the frame right there, just so they can make sure that they have a good contact point for the brackets right there. So we're doing that. And then also, let me show you guys right over here. So as you guys know, we did replace the front bumper end caps, which they look really good, as you guys can see right there. Match the rest of the Jeep very well, and you know, they're not faded right now. And if you go to the rear here, these are actually not replaced, so these are still the stock ones. And you can see they do have some discoloration to them. And then we have the brand new ones right here, which of course look a whole lot better. So those would just be replaced right over here, and then we would keep those mud flaps right there. So we have those right over here, and he did tell me that I should just go ahead and buy the bumper and the brackets myself, just to, you know, save some money. So I'm gonna go ahead and order the bumper and the bumper brackets. And then also, like I said, we are going to be getting the headliner either repaired or replaced. He took a few pictures and told me he would give me a call to see what actually needs to be done, to see if they, you know, need to replace the whole headliner here, or if they can just kind of stick it back on. But I did mention that I do want to keep the stock headliner look, so he said he would see if they can find that stock type of headliner material that I have right there. And then he also did take a look at the frame, noticed some more rust. If you guys can see right over there, it is a little bit rusty right there. There's also a few other spots like right over here that you guys can see. And I did get this Jeep descaled and undercoated with fluid film about a year ago, so I'm not really sure why it's like that already. But he did mention, and he did recommend, that they should scale off all that rust and then, you know, line it up with truck bed liner underneath. So the wheel wells already have some of that, I believe. I actually got this Jeep with all this stuff on the wheel wells, but he did recommend that we do get all the rust scaled off of the frame, as well as lined with truck bed liner. And to be honest, I do think it would look a whole lot better, because it would have that black look instead of like the yellowish look of the rust. So I definitely do think that black would make it look a whole lot better. I've also heard people say that the rubberized undercoating can kind of trap the moisture inside, and fluid film is kind of something that you have to reapply each year for it to be effective. So I'm not really sure what I would like to do. I'm actually going to hold off on doing all those rust repairs for now. I definitely do think that it would be beneficial, and like I said, it would look a whole lot better if the frame were black and the whole underbody was black instead of, you know, the rusty color that it is right now. And, you know, to be honest, I don't really drive this Jeep in like too rainy conditions or wet conditions for moisture to actually get underneath the undercoating. So I don't really think it's something that I would need to worry about too much. He did say for the cheapest price, it would be about $4 grand for them to go through that whole process of scaling down all the rust and, you know, taping up all the bolts, the exhaust, and all the things that shouldn't be undercoated, and then actually applying the rubberized truck bed liner underneath there. So he said $4 grand would probably be the cheapest price that I'd be looking at for all of that. And as you guys know, I did spend $2,400 to get the rockers replaced along with the rear lower quarter panels and get it descaled and undercoated with a fluid film, and that wasn't like too long ago. So I told him I would hold off on all that and just do the bumper brackets, end caps, and the headliner for now. So yeah, so he's gonna give me a call back and give me a price on it, and yeah, we'll see what happens from there. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and order the bumper as well as the brackets, and as you see, we already do have the end caps. So yeah, I think once we get all this stuff done, it's gonna look a whole lot better, especially with that rust-free bumper and the bumper end caps that aren't faded. So I guess next step after that is gonna be to get the whole thing descaled on the underside, and then, you know, put that black truck bed liner undercoating on there. So I do think that would be a good idea, considering it would look a whole lot better if the underside was black instead of, you know, a bunch of different colors like the rusty color and then the blue and the rust right there. So definitely do think it would look a whole lot better with what he recommended. And like I said, I don't really drive this Jeep in like wet conditions, so I don't really have to worry about moisture getting underneath the undercoating. So I'm just gonna hold off on that right now because of the price. So maybe sometime down the road we can do that. And you know, he said it would be like $4 grand for that. He told me that they do not cut corners with that process, and that it does take a good amount of time. So you know, he justified the price for me, but you know, I do have to hold off on that for now, just a little bit more than I was planning to spend for this right now. So that's the next step for the Jeep right here. So just to review everything, we're gonna buy the rear bumper as well as the bumper brackets. They're gonna install those and paint the bumper to match the body just how it is right now. You have the rear bumper end caps right there, which you got from carparts.com. We're gonna get those replaced, and then we're gonna transfer over these mud flaps to the new end caps. So I think those look pretty good, and I do like the look of the mud flaps. And then that's everything for the exterior. And then we're also gonna get this headliner either repaired or replaced, whatever they recommend. So yeah, I mean, that's basically the whole plan, all the next steps that I have for this Jeep. And I would like to get this whole thing, get all the rust scaled off and get it undercoated with that black truck bed liner, the rubberized stuff that makes it look black. I do think it would look a whole lot better, but once again, just holding off on that for now because of the $4,000 price that he gave me. So definitely would like to do that sometime in the future, but just not right now. So there we have it. We have the next steps for the Jeep Cherokee XJ right here. I know I've been talking about doing this for a pretty long time now, and you know, we're finally taking action and actually, you know, doing stuff with it now instead of just talking. So supposed to get a call from Rob, the owner of Rob's Customs and Restorations. He's gonna give me a price on everything, and then yeah, we can take it from there. Alrighty guys, so that's gonna do it for this video. Make sure you guys let me know down below what other future plans you would like to see me do to my Jeep Cherokee XJ right here. Love to see what you guys think about it and what you guys think about, you know, everything that we do have planned so far. So let me know down below what other future plans you guys would like to see to this Jeep. If you guys have any questions or comments, make sure to drop those down in the comment section below, as well as any video suggestions for videos you guys would like to see in the future. And if you guys like this video or found it entertaining, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.